became very, very painfully obvious that jungle clear became the issue for this team. So I either want to see a dial on something that clears at the top of the meta, or I want to see LBK draft prio in at least one or two lanes. As RMC was mentioning, yes, Rumble has a little bit of prio above Rise, but if played well, eventually the Rise with mana can wave clear to the same likes, and you just had no prio in top or bottom whatsoever. So I would like to see more ability to back up your jungler or a top clearing jungler here for LBK.
Okay, the Rush is actually banned away by Sparta Prime, so we're not going to be able to see that one for NS anymore. Rumble is also taken off the board, so no more opportunity for that one. Udyr is still first picked. Thought this champion wouldn't be as viable or as impactful in the meta coming into the patch, but still looking great. Still opting for a very heavy tempo clear jungle, and it'll be first picked by Sparta Prime, no problem. Now is where LBK Lemon, everything is on the board. It's a tempo jungler. Do not lock in the Volibear unless you have some sort of crazy plan. Scion taking a counter jungle quadrant. They grab themselves a Varus. That's a good start. A very nice AD carry, can provide a lot of lane dominance into matchups that he really shouldn't have that much pressure into. But again, you have to keep your eyes on the jungle. We didn't talk about it too much last time because we didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. We wanted to see the solo lane pop off and top. But it's just because of these junglers, man. They're always getting involved, and that's not a great start. I want to be honest with you, DJ. A little disheartening to see it locked in. I hope it's going somewhere else, though.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty fine with this as a response here from LBK. The Varus, an extremely strong AD carry there, also just goes well with pretty much any support pick. So you pick that, R1 just gives you a strong AD carry that you can basically flex into any kind of lane later on in the draft. And the Volibear can be flexed top jungle here. And again, if you are going to go with this jungle, it can be fine. You just have to have more tempo. You have to have more prio. And Varus is a champion that will get you prio in bottom lane. So far, I like the flexibility from LBK. I think this is a smart start to their red side draft. We'll have to see what they do in the rest of it. But I think that's about as well as you could have done there with R1, R2 to start this draft off. We see a Rel come in here for Sparta Prime. That's an interesting one.
I like Rel. Again, picking it super early can be a little bit dangerous. You can get a lot of counter engage going in. The Alistar is still available. Would be great. You immediately pulverize that ground. She gets thrown back up. The crash down never connects. We got Battle Cow on the Rift. RMC celebrating. I can see him off to the side. He's got his party hat on and everything. Victor is locked in as well. And there it is. The Camille Adia wanted to see. Instead of the Volibear, we're going to get both, though. So Camille's still locked in for the top side of the map. It is that contested pick between the two. Both love to play the fighter. Incredibly strong, really safe, and even strong early phase. And then, of course, one of the best split push scaling champions in the game. LBK Lemons, though, going to spend their bans on that top side to make sure it cannot be matched. Sparta Prime looking to target the mid lane here with the Galio and the Leona ban into the Rel, which typically isn't seen as too often as a counter pick. I expect Lemons to just pick up the Alistar.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an option here on R4 with the Alistar not banned. Maybe they think they're fine against it. I'm a little confused as to how this draft is playing out. The Rel early raises question marks for me. The Victor early raises question marks for me. Usually that's picked once you kind of see that the lane is safe. You do have the gravity well. Wow, Vel'Koz.
Okay. All right, we're getting the tentacle enthusiast himself. That's a spicy one, a lot of range. That's the biggest thing to keep your mind healed about. Just pure range for Vel'Koz, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I will have to see what they round this out with, but this is kind of what I was alluding to with the Victor blind there, is you can just pick kind of a counter pick. Like, Victor is not like Orianna, right? He's not as safe. He definitely has counter picks. He plays a lot better in comps that eventually want sort of ranged kite back, something like along with a Tristana or something like that can be very hard to deal with. But he can just get outranged by Vel'Koz. And when he does get outranged on his laser range, it can be really, really tricky to deal with. Gangplank, what? No, abort. This is there's definitely an error here. There's
abort mission. Get out.
I need an update here. Is this a Victor bot? Is this a Yone bot lane? Guys, give me something.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be Victor. That's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah, I can't see any world where they put the Yone bot. So it's going to be Victor. There's nothing in chat at all. The Karma's locked in to match some of the range of the Victor.
I'm telling you, I think this has to be Yone bot.
I got all eyes on my monitors here trying to see if there's any verification. We have word that it is official. It is a Victor. In the bot lane, of course, they could flex it come a client select, but Victor bot, just scale up, I guess, match the Varus's potential to just throw skill shots and poke, but Sparta Prime really putting on a statement now, DJ. They can beat you on a normal comp. They can beat you with a mage in the bot lane as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait here and see. I'm still not convinced this is Victor bot, simply because if your top side is Gangplank, Udyr, Yone, that's like the easiest itemization I could ever possibly imagine. For a Camille, for your mid laner. So I would imagine you want some sort of AP threat on the top side of your map. Like, yes, Udyr does AP damage. Yes, he did a lot last game, but that's last game. He's Udyr. You shouldn't be expecting him to be your damage threat. So I think this could be a Yone bot. And you can just kind of get on top of something like a Varus in the mid to later stage of the game. Of course, you're going to have to deal with the chains of corruption. You're going to have to deal with the range and lanes. So, yeah, this is a wild card pulled out by Sparta Prime here. And unless they've got the secret sauce here, Necrox, I think they might just be trying to flex a little bit on LBK Lemon as they do wrap up this draft. I mean, I don't know what much more to say about it. I'll even focus here on LBK Lemon's draft. It is a Yone mid. Holy cow. I really like this draft from LBK. The one negative thing, I think, because of how crazy this Sparta Prime pick gets, is the Vel'Koz, in that normally you want Vel'Koz range into something that can't, just say, hey, I get to be on top of you. And Yone says, hey, I get to be on top of you whenever I want. So I think the lane goes really well for Josh early on, and then gets really, really hard for him to stay alive. But you can just kind of itemize armor in this lane. Overall, though, it's, again, a lot of comfort. You've got what should be priority on this Vel'Koz early on. If you play it well, you should have priority on Varus in the bottom lane against this Victor with Karma particularly. That should be a heavily pushing lane. So I think Adila should not have a problem clearing, particularly on the bot side of the map. Early on, Gangplank should have the push against Camille with the Qs coming out from the parlay, but eventually Camille can fight back in that lane, and it is a champion that we know the boss is incredibly proficient at. So I really like what LBK have done here, but I think ultimately the question is, are you just going to take this lying down if you're the Lemons? Like, yeah, I was memeing on you squeezing the lemon in pre-show, but like, that's what they're trying to do to you. Like, what is this draft?
Yeah, I'm going to give a little bit of a rundown because of the just pure chaos that this draft has been, but I got to agree. Right at the top, you can't take this line down if you're LBK Lemons. If you lose this game, it sends a shockwave, a ripple effect throughout Heavy League that Sparta Prime are here to kick butt and eat bubblegum. And they don't even buy the bubblegum in the first place. They're just straight up here to kick your butts and take the trophy home. Sparta Prime certainly looking to send a message. Here's how I anticipate the game going down, though. I expect Boost to just sit in this bot lane, take Cleanse most likely, just to avoid the level 6 dive, and just chill. Just farm up Enos, roaming across the map, making plays with Speedy Run Chally, just everywhere, just being a nuisance. Stop Amy, looking to all in with Ignite in the mid lane, just has to make sense about where you all in and where you don't. Make sure you're not getting counter ganked by Adela, and then you're good to go. On that, Woohyun gonna push in a little bit, again with that early advantage that was aforementioned by you, DJ, so aptly, but I have a lot of question marks about the Victor Rel bot lane. There's not much all-in threat there. There's not much engage other than just the Rel. The damage follow-up isn't high at all, so I don't know. Sparta Prime can win on this. Can they lose on anything?
Yeah, you're not fighting with this lane at all. Victor does nothing until you have upgrades on your abilities. I think it is more like you said. I think Enos wants to roam mid once again, and Victor is a champion. If you've ever listened to Sneaky Stream, he actually plays this a lot in the bottom lane, depending on the meta. And that is one of its biggest qualities, is that you have self-peel. You have good wave clear once you upgrade that E. You can just sort of exist on your own. So I would imagine that's sort of the plan here, and they'll play topside once again. But yeah, ultimately, we're gonna have a lot more questions than answers about this draft, considering we have never seen this, and we're gonna have to get those answers from Sparta Prime in this game.
We're going to have to get them in this game, and we're going to get them awfully soon. We were looking at the top laners last time. This time, maybe taking a little bit of a backseat, really looking at Woohyun to rally up his team once again, and Wicklebear to get LBK Lemons back on the board here. He's the shot caller, the main voice in this team. Needs to get something going here for the Lemons, or they could find themselves squeezed once again. We'll be right back onto the Rift after a short intermission with your casters, Adia and RMC. I can't stop the Lemon jokes. I'm so sorry. They're just going to keep on rolling out. We'll be right back, though, after a short break. We'll see you soon.
Welcome to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, as Sparta Prime face off against LBK Lemons for the second time tonight. Although, if you're an LBK Lemons fan, you might be inclined to forget the first game. Forgive and forget, as they say, because Sparta Prime did some pretty harsh things to the LBK Lemons. Going into game 2, they've done some pretty strange things with the draft, eh, RMC?
Yeah, the fact that we're not seeing the traditional AD carry, I think, is the first thing that stands out from this draft coming up from Sparta Prime. But you know what? I don't hate it. I think it works into this composition. I think it was drafted in response, and I can respect the ideas that they came up with.
Yeah, they've got actually what to some might seem like a little disjointed roster, but in almost every step of the way, Sparta Prime was responding to what LBK Lemons was drafting, and it's an intelligent way of playing the game, or of playing the draft rather, that nets them counters at sort of every stage here, in every lane, as long as they can isolate how LBK want to play the team fight. Sparta Prime do have ways to shut that down, and LBK Lemons, they've done much the same thing. We were talking heavily in the draft about what the support pick was going to be, about how LBK were going to get themselves some safety, and I think that they've got another draft that is pretty autonomous. It just comes down to whether they can survive the lane phase, because last time they didn't at all.
Yeah, this is not how you survive a lane phase from the boss. Like, level 1, we were kind of talking about this, DJ and myself, in the loading screen, about how the Gangplank Camille's matchup is supposed to go. Camille actually should be beating Gangplank, but not right away. At level 1, GP will outtrade the Camille, and right now the boss is eating a whole bunch of damage for no reason. That was kind of what happened in game 1, where Sparta Prime just got winning lanes where sometimes they frankly shouldn't have been able to get them, and they took over. So not the best start for the Lemons here.
No, there's an interesting path, though, considering that we're expecting the boss to be able to run the lane. With Woohyun pushing in top lane so heavily, and Speedrun Shally moving way too top, we could see some early attention paid if the boss does try to take that winning lane. In the bot lane, though, it does mean that Sparta Prime is abandoned, and they're going to be taking a lot of poke.
For Sparta Prime's bot lane, we have to go back to this because it is that Victor here, rather than that traditional AD carry. And Victor, very good at clearing waves, but early on might struggle to CS under turret a little bit here. And more importantly, doesn't have the range to match that Varus Karma poke. So we'll eat a lot of that early, and they've got to dodge that out. If they can dodge it, they win it. If they eat all the poke, then they're kind of destined to lose for most of the early game here.
And it's not the only lane where that's true, because you take a look at the mid lane of Vel'Koz versus Yone matchup, seems like a pretty similar story.
And to me, when we were looking at this and thinking, okay, Victor into Vel'Koz, I actually like that matchup here. You don't get the life form disintegration ray getting full channel. You get to poke, you get a wave clear crate. Yone, not so much. Yone is a ballsy pick. That's a pick where you go, I know I'm better than you, and I'm about to prove it. Because if Yone pops off in this lane, Yone just takes over the entire game. But Yone does struggle early because you're ranged.
But right now, though, importantly, Stop Amy is getting away without being punished. Adela gets spotted bot side, giving Speedrun Shally the ability to counter jungle a little bit, and leaves Adela with no option but to gank that bot lane. Heads down there now, but isn't going to find anything, as his lane is pushing, and LBK Lemons, despite all of their poke early on, despite the fact that they have a winning lane top, don't have a gank.
Yeah, and I thought we were going to see a gank top from Speedrun Shally. The back was being... Oh, the back's been cancelled. We might still see that gank.
Ayla's hanging out here, but Speedrun Shally, he's going into the top lane. Splash Bear Slap cancels the boss's hook shot, and he goes down for first blood with the parlay. Well, in the mid lane, Stop Amy is going aggressive on Josh, while almost takes him down.
Oh my
and Ayla's
goodness.
not going to be able to punish anything here. Your Vel'Koz is in huge trouble. You just lost your top laner, and already LBK Lemons are bleeding out.
Oh dear, and okay, so the setup to that top lane gank was beautiful as well. Because Adela did not full clear the top side, Krugs were up. So Speedrun Shally gets the Krugs, isn't answered bot side because did clear his own, and then gets the first blood as well for Woohyun, for this Gangplank who needs time to scale. I'm getting flashbacks to game 1. This is optimal setup. Now they're looking bot here, but with that base, there's no kill pressure of anything. You're just making sure that Enos also doesn't get dove or doesn't get completely poked out.
And I'm really impressed with the game plan from Sparta Prime early game, not just because it's a good one, but because this is still a roster that one might forget is new. They haven't played together until this week, and already coming out with these early game plans to get Speedrun Challenge into that top lane to swing this matchup is swinging it in bigger fashion than anyone could expect. Woohyun gets to solo win a lane against the Camille, who doesn't have teleport, and Sparta Prime managed to turn that into free priority on the Dragon. Adela tries to get in there, but doesn't have the back of his team, and instead Enos gets to go aggressive, finding a stun, finding the knockup, finding a kill for Sparta Prime as LBK Lemons have pressure nowhere.
And let me put a small correction. Hold up. Josh Rowley having to flash. Okay, that's a flash down. But it wasn't just that Sparta Prime had pressure on the Dragon. LBK Lemon started that Dragon and then got shoved out, because that was kind of a desperate Dragon. They didn't have the proper setup. Look at their ward vision there. It's kind of all defensive. Yes, they had wards in the river, but it's not catching all of Sparta Prime coming in. They didn't have the proper setup. They forced it. They lost it here, and they're just losing tempo, losing momentum here. Wicklebear could go down if you're not respecting that damage.
It's a tough spot to be in. It's only getting tougher as Speedrun Chally moves into the top side once again, making Adela's Krugs his own. My question here is whether Adela gets to clear his own Krugs this game. That'll be a little fun mini game that we play with ourselves, while Woohyun gets to play the fun mini game of I get to win lane against the Camille as a Gangplank for free, already on his way to the scaling with a Sheen pickup. Speedrun Chally, as the wave crashes, is going to be able to back off. Well, Woohyun is certainly safe with the wave pushing back towards him, and top lane is off to a great start. Where, however, can LBK Lemons look to make their own great start?
Well, I've heard here that in most fruits, the sweetest part is at the bottom. And so for the LBK Lemons, look at your bot lane. Because if we look across the entire scoreboard here, it's the only lane that isn't losing right now. We saw Kadu and Wicklebear. They are putting the poke down. They have forced boost back a couple of times here. And I think that's where they kind of need to look here to play through. They have a bit of prio. If they set up the wave state right, Adila could find a gank, and Adila soon to be 6, maybe even a dive.
That Volibear, such a potent power in the level 6 sort of phase of the game here. Maybe exactly what they need, as you say, because it's really their one power spike that they're going to have early on before Sparta Prime can outscale it with their individual play. Right now, the fact that Enos does have a kill in the bot lane and boost is success does not, gives you a little bit of hope, as the gold isn't all entirely on the carries of Sparta Prime, but they'll have the chance to correct that as the game goes on. For the moment, they've taken a little bit of a break. Speedrun Chally has left the rift temporarily for a back, and the pace of the game has slowed down dramatically as a result.
The pace, I think, is still manageable for LBK Lemons here, dear, as long as we don't see Speedrun Chally complete that turbo chem tank. I think once that comes through, that's when we see them really speeding up, running the map here. And as we speak, Adila being a sneaky bear, getting into the bush here. That's exactly what the doctor ordered.
If he can find a gank, a stop aim, he might find a solo kill on his mid laner first. That Soul Unbound is doing work, closing the gap onto the Vel'Koz. Here comes Adila with the level 6. Instantly, Gangplank ult is dropped as a result. Sparta Prime playing with a lot of respect and very defensively. Invest one small cooldown to burn minutes of Adila's time.
Well, that said, Adila can always look for a repeat gank here. Stormbringer is available, and there needs to be proper setup here, not just in terms of wave state, but in terms of poke. If they're this tank, if they're this healthy right now, you can't necessarily force the play there.
It's not going to come today. Maybe it'll come somewhere else, though, as he does still have the level 6. Well, we're hoping that LBK Lemons, though, can get back into the game. They might have found their own way as Enos ends up going down to Kadu. Despite the fact that that gank didn't work out, Sparta Prime do still lose a member to the duo of Kadu and Wicklebear.
You know what? I'm pretty happy with that, Dia. I think that's a very good sign for LBK Lemons. If your bot lane can get unassisted kills right now in the bot lane in the 2v2, then you don't have to look for Adila to go down there. If Adila is looking down there, it's just to pick up free assists here. And that does free up the bear to roam mid. Maybe punish stop Amy a little bit here because Yone is a melee champion. And with Josh Wally there, theoretically should be able to get some poke down. And then let the bear frontline for you. Let the alien probing monster poke from the back.
Whatever we're gonna call Vel'Koz is right now. What I'm gonna call him is down CS to a Yone at this point in the game is not exactly what you want in a Vel'Koz matchup, who should have the advantage during those earlier stages, being a ranged champion. We're hoping that LBK Lemons do get their feet under them, though, as Stop Amy is going to invest the bait seal, gets stopped from going over the wall, does have the flash, invests a little bit late, as Volibear follows him over the wall, and the Death Ray is going to find the kill. Josh picks up one, and Wicklebear roaming up is going to stop any sort of response from Sparta Prime, at least for now. Gravity Wealth gets dropped from Boost is success, and they may have found an answer in Wicklebear, left all alone in the river. The bush denies vision for just a second, but it isn't enough as Sparta Prime look for blood in response and find some for their fallen comrade.
Where was Kadu in all of that there? Wicklebear roaming up should have brought Kadu with. I think they could have turned that fight, but you know what? They get Dragon. So not a total wash there. Kadu did manage to pick up some more plates and or some more minions, pardon me. So still a pretty good situation. And LBK Lemons, they're not out by any means right now. They're able to answer back and keep the gold not too far apart.
That's exactly what they need right now, is to make sure that they don't lose too much tempo in the early stage. And as you say, the gold's not too far apart. I'm reminded of last game where we certainly saw Sparta Prime taken off. So good adaptations from LBK for now have kept them in a really good spot. Kadu is working on his lethality item as well. And that poke is always going to be relevant, especially into Boost in the bot lane, who doesn't get anything.
The top side.
Adela starts off with the engage, is forced to flash away. Woohyun with the parley, gonna secure that kill, turns it into another, and Wicklebear is gonna get chased down, flashed on here. Josh needs to finish off the kill, flashes for it, and ends up finding just the one in response. Woohyun gonna be able to walk off with a big grasp proc, and right as we hit there, we're gonna go for a pause.
I think the players are checking to make sure that that wasn't a bug, that Woohyun wasn't hitting for double damage or way more damage than he should have. But that's a Trinity Force Gangplank, Dia! You don't walk into that without your own mythics completed. And they just kind of grouped up. They ate a barrel to the face and it was just clean up after that.
And so much of that is off of the early stage of the game, because Woohyun has been able to farm up so incredibly well off the small amount of attention that Speedrun Shally gave him. The boss didn't get the chance to play the game from then on out, and nobody's managed to come top to address this GP. The map has been about everywhere else, and yes, it's resulted in a 30 CS lead for Kadu. Is that going to be enough? I need an 8-ball for this one.
8-ball says probably not. Yeah. The step one with the problem with getting Kadu a hit is that's all well and good, but you actually do need to get Kadu to the fight. And so far, the only kill participation that Kadu has had was an unassisted kill in the bot lane. They're not getting their fed member, their strong member, to the rest of the fight here. And also, with the way the Varus build kind of goes right now, you do get set a little bit behind while you're building that tier here. So the power spikes are a little bit off. They'll need some time to complete that first mythic, as well as completing that Manamune.
Now, remember as well that as much as we're looking at Kadu to be this carry force, there's a 3-0 Gangplank on the other side of the map, and Gangplank is one of the things that was drafted by Sparta Prime in response to the composition that LBK Lemons was building this for themselves, because Varus is an immobile carry, much like Josh on the Vel'Koz, who can be punished by the Cannon Barrage.
And the poke as well here from the barrels will be able to match, and it then becomes sort of a question of, does the Varus linear AoE do catch more people, or do the barrel circular AoE catch more people? And the Cannon Barrage as well, Dia, now that you mentioned it, I was thinking about it in terms of how Sparta Prime wants to fight this. The Cannon Barrage is actually going to force LBK to a lot of these fights here later in the game. You drop that down, and LBK Lemons are going to struggle to try and disengage through that cannon fire, through the damage, and more importantly, through the slow.
Yeah, the fact that you can drop all this soft engages Sparta Prime and then threaten with people like Speedrun Charlie, like Stop Amy. Play this dance around is going to be really important. Flash out of boosted success in the bot lane. Flash from Kadu to follow it up, though, brings us right back into the action. Kadu is going to be able to find the solo kill, but it gets answered back by the Chaos Storm and the Death Ray as well. And it's a 1-for-1 in the bot.
For the Varus there, you have to be careful. This is not your traditional AD carry. This is a mage. The damage is very, very bursty. If you step in range and need a full combo, you are going to lose that trade here. And it's showing right now. 30 CS up. Item advantage didn't matter.
No, not at all. And it's not just the item advantage. Remember, he's got the CS advantage, should even have a small experience advantage, could do, but isn't able to translate it into the combination of the Victor with the immense amount of power that, like you say, the combination can bring down. Sparta Prime get themselves a kill. Now might get themselves another speedrun. Chally, he is ready to engage, and Wicklebear, he can't disengage, doesn't have the flash, and with 3 members on him, he's just going to die. Stop Amy does get the interrupt in the mid lane, though. Eat the tower shot. Oh, the humanity as he falls down to Josh.
I'm sorry, Stop Amy. The turret's not going to stop aiming at you if you're the only thing in range there. You do have to respect that. This could be a dive if Speedrun Chally sets up for this.
And this is absolutely a dive. If Speedrun Chally is in the area, if Enos is in the area, you do not get away without an engage. These two, the power duo that run the Rift, do pick up yet another kill, feeding it over to boost his success. Their AP carry in the bot lane. And yes, this may be the only source of AP damage that you have, but it is getting fed.
Oh, it's the only source you really need here, because there's not a ton of, people who are going to be building a lot of resistances on the side of LBK Lemons. Maybe Adila, and that's kind of it here. And for the side of LBK Lemons, they are behind. Let's make no mistake right now. They've kind of lost a lot of the initial tempo they had. Their one strong point, their bot lane, has also been stifled right now. And it goes back to what happened in game 1. They need to start trying to make more proactive plays. They need to start rotating people around, except this time I think the setup for it is worse.
Certainly a lot more difficult. But Enos is operating on relatively little vision right now. Could be getting caught out, much like Woohyun in the top lane, who is getting double teamed at the moment. Adela and the boss do manage to find a big shutdown, giving it over to a crucial tank on the side of LBK. While that is being done, Sparta Prime actually have no response. They didn't expect that to go down and aren't set up to take anything away for Adela's aggression topside.
There was vision seeing Adila come up, but when you're just pushed that far up, you've got to respect that. Now, it might be the boss's turn to overextend here.
Oh no, Speedrun Chally, we've seen him take these before. The boss is going to go down. It looks like Hookshot buys him a little bit of space, but it isn't enough into the speedy Udyr, who takes him down. This Sunfire Cape Udyr build looks like it can solo just about anybody. It's been 2 top laners in 2 games.
And we should point out, this is not the Turbo Chem tank. Hold up. Okay, stop aiming out. Yeah, that's not Turbo Chem tank. We're seeing Sunfire Udyr coming back right now. So more damage, but less on-demand speed, and Speedrun is still able to run down the boss there. I think the only person who gets away right now is maybe Adila, or even then I'm not sure.
It's a really tough call. The only thing that makes me think so is that Adila does have the ultimate that he can use to get over that wall, but everybody else is really, really immobile, and it's going to start punishing LBK if they can't find themselves good setup before these fights. Their immobility is going to make it very difficult to readjust on the fly, and as we pan up to the top lane, we're going to see the first tower fall in the favor of Sparta Prime, giving them a little bit more gold, pushing them to a 5,000 gold lead.
Done without Herald as well. Herald is still in the pocket of Speedrun right now, and with the Dragon being set up, no TPs from the top lane. Cannon Barrage is going to be the big difference from the top lane here.
Woohyun is ready to drop it. If you can wait a little while, the boss is going to have teleport, but LBK, they don't have the time for that. Speedrun Chally, he just walks right into the pit, though, and as much as Enos, it takes a big chunk. He's going to go down. Lifeform Disintegration Ray gets used, but the Gravity Well is going to stop that in its track. Josh forced to flash away. Speedrun Chally follows him up, though, and Stop Amy is going to be able to pick up the kill here. Almost manages to find it, but goes back a little bit too early. Speedrun Chally is being poked out. LBK Lemons are almost winning the team fight, but Sparta Prime keep dancing around them as Boost's success isn't stopping anytime soon. He keeps Adila out of the pit as they start up the Dragon. No smite available from Speedrun means that the Dragon likely isn't going to be going to Sparta Prime. Adila zoning them out. Speedrun Charlie drops that Rift Herald in the mid lane, gets them the first turret. He might find Josh here, gets knocked up, gets taken down by the Vel'Koz in the outplay for the side, and the dragon is going to fall to LBK. A good news story going in their direction might quickly be ended as Canoe is forced to flash away from Stop Aim Me.
No, Wicco, no, you can't walk into this. TP coming down.
Oh no, Boosted Success does go for the kill, knowing that he is sandwiched, that he is likely dead, and now we know the Stop Amy should be as well, but instead, a double kill goes over to the Victor. Camille is forced to invest Melt, make it a triple for Boosted Success. He's gonna execute at the end of all of that.
Push,
oh my lord!
Push, Mohyun! Everything's happening down bot side. Nobody can answer top, and what a fiasco on the bot side. The teams, this game, I don't know if I should call it confidence or arrogance at this point from both the teams, because they both frankly overstayed trusting their mechanical prowess, and some of it paid out, but most of it didn't.
So many misplays on both sides is what I think that anybody in their right mind would see there. But the fact is that at the end of all of that, Sparta Prime are the ones that make less of them. They are the ones that walk out actually increasing their gold lead, and they lose a dragon for it. But it is one that you are happy to give up at this point in the game. With a 5,000 gold lead, with almost no top lane towers left for LBK, and the fact that they can't actually respond to your side lane gangplank, and now your Victor is fed. I mean, the world is your oyster.
Yeah, we missed one more thing, just to put the cherry on top of your oyster there. Not the best combination, but
no.
Woohyun did not burn TP. The boss did. So again, they can continue to make that side lane sort of plays here unpunished. Dude, you over.
Oh my god, Kadu. Oh my god, speedrun! He smites Kadu for the kill, waiting in the wings to see if his AP carry rather, could finish it off. Now just walks casually under tower, forces a flash, and gets to back off for free. Then securing a tier 2 as well. Sparta Prime are really off to the races here, especially because LBK, without their mid laner, can't actually contest anything.
Oh, it's 1930. The gap is not as big as last game, but it's still pretty darn huge. Almost 7k difference. Baron about to spawn. And look at the state of the map. Mid lane, LBK and Lemons have lost their inner turret. They can't even push out. Top side inner turret's very, very low. And who are you going to send to match Woohyun? The boss can't do it. And with the TP advantage, you can always pressure as well. Right now, Stop Amy bot side. That probably is a bit of a mistake because there's no TP available. But if they do a 4v4 on the top side, Sparta Prime should have this in the bag.
Now, what do you think of a team fight here? Because that's what I am looking at here. Kadu in the side lane is not your win condition, and you're looking to fight another day, but you just give more gold over to Woohyun.
You ask me what I think about a team fight? I think that won't happen if you're not watching the lane assignments. We were just talking about Woohyun top. You saw him shoving there, and you sent Kadu with 0 support. You can't do that with Averus.
Gets extremely punished right now. Our observer graciously has brought up the gold graph to educate us on the fact that the boss, despite having been split pushing for the last couple of minutes, is down 3,000 gold, and Stop Amy wants to deny him his life here, isn't going to end up finding that. But remember, the boss also still doesn't have teleport, and now with Baron Vision being cleared out, you have the chance to just take this without contest to Sparta Prime.
Pretty much here. I mean, the one bright news is Smite has been changed, right? So it's equal right now. Adila has a chance to steal, but you need vision, and you need to be able to land your ult properly. Baron burning down, but they've managed to force it off for now.
Josh is a big threat right now, and flash burned out of him is an equally large boon. Adila looks for an engage, doesn't find it. Speedrun Charlie's looking for one as well. Stop Amy does find the double fate sealed. Josh burns the stopwatch early on, isn't outputting any damage, but finally turns around with the life form disintegration ray. Gonna be run down by Speedrun Charlie in the back line though, and forces yet more cooldowns out of LBK Lemons. They can't actually finish off the Udyr. The lethality doesn't do it. Kadu is so low, and he ends up going down to the Udyr. In the meantime, the boss can't finish off the kill. Josh gets chased down, and Wicklebear claiming a kill back is the only thing that LBK Lemons will be taking with them.
The Spartans do not back down here. They were so low on health, and they kept on pushing. The last time we saw this, it was a mess that frankly the Spartans, Sparta Prime, actually kind of lost initially. This time they just win it straight out here. They could turn and go for Baron if they so wish, but it's risky because Adila is up, Speedrun Charlie is not, and they don't need to. They can just continue pressuring, push up all the lanes.
You can play the game super chill right now as Sparta Prime. Anything that you want is yours with that 10,000 gold in your pocket. And right now what they want is the dragon getting focused down by Stop Amy initially. And everyone else should be joining on short order. They don't have speed run here, so it can be challenged by Adila. Gets in the pit, ends up taking the dragon, and an overstep, I'll say, by Sparta Prime is going to cost them that Drake. Does it cost them the game state? I think you'll hear it in my voice.
For sure. Still, that was something that shouldn't have happened there. Speedrun was not there. I don't know what the call was, but the moment you see Adila, you just need to turn it around. You can't even finish that safely whatsoever. They are going to turn and burn right away for this Baron. And to repeat, Kadu getting caught.
Oh no, well, if you lose Kadu here, it's just over because you need the 2 sources of damage right now, and you're not going to be able to find any engage, any softening up onto Sparta Prime. Nonetheless, LBK Lemons know that they have to contest here, and Adila is ready with the smite, has the ultimate to get over the wall as well. Woohyun is setting up the barrels to deny any sort of engagement. Over the wall does go Adila, doesn't get the Baron here, and it's going to be focused down in the pit. Well, Josh can't set up, he's got a gangplank on him, still burns the life form disintegration ray just to try and go out with a bang, but instead it's going to be LBK Lemons going out with a whimper here as they get aced by Sparta Prime. Or almost. Freaking, it may as well. God, why? What is the boss? Like, what? He's got teleport even.
I mean, to be fair to the boss, that was a fight you were going to lose right away. Kadu was dead, as you mentioned. And you just can't fight that. Without the poke coming down preemptively, they don't have enough damage in a straight 5v5 team fight here. I don't care that they've got 3 Drakes. Not good enough. And I want to point out that it wasn't Speedrun securing that Baron. It was Stop Amy. Things got real dicey there. And if the cards fall the other way and LBK Lemons get that Baron, I think despite the gold differential, they can start mounting a comeback because that's 2 back-to-back objectives that they managed to secure.
I'm hesitant, but I'm ready to see it happen. LBK Lemons would like nothing more than to keep themselves in the series right now. We'll be going to 3 games no matter what. Each game counts for its own separate points, and if you find picks like this, you could get yourself a few more. Speedrun Charlie is so fast, though. What is happening?
That, again, no chem tank. This is just straight dead man's plate. Kadu actually shot the Chain of Corruptions off screen at Stop Amy and Whipped. So that's another ult that's not available. And Dia, I just realized, we talked about, a scary bear last game and a teddy bear. Adila just got Flame Horizoned in the jungle.
That's nuts, actually.
Okay, moment of silence over. Well, we're appreciating that. As you mentioned, it is all still Sparta Prime's game right now. They can run the map. They still have Baron for another minute. They've not really made good use of the Baron right now. And that's kind of because there's not a lot of turrets. They have to shove the waves up. Bot side still has inner turret alive. I think that's your target right now. You probably aren't going to be able to crack the base turrets quite effectively. And the inhibitor in the mid lane, you leave that. You take that without Baron anyways. So you want to efficiently try and crack the harder things, i.e. turrets.
Right now, LBK Lemons are trying to crack Stop Amy. Good defensive cannon barrage, though, and the gravity well invested as well with the flank from Boost is success. Will force LBK Lemons to disengage, go back to the lane assignments that they're already losing in. As these Baron minions are knocking on your door. The base already broken for LBK Lemons, and now Josh is going to feel it in his health bar. Does invest the life form disintegration rate. Oranges keep Woohyun alive, though still looking for a way to get it back. Does get shut down, but it's going to come at the cost of Sparta Prime getting your inhibitor in the mid lane. Enos also tries to find an engage. Speedrun Charlie is going to flash for this. They're kind of forcing a little bit too hard here, and with Speedrun Charlie under the tower, taking a lot of unnecessary damage, the boss is going to go in and try to finish off a kill. Stop Amy is going to take him down with the assistance of Boost. Is success, though. A double kill goes over to this Yone, and Sparta Prime may have committed really far, but they've got the gold to back it up. They get the kills onto LBK Lemons, and they get to push into the Nexus towers now.
Can't keep getting away with this, Dia. I mean, they're fighting under a turret, they're ignoring, but they're just not getting punished. Look how healthy they are as well coming out. They're only sitting on that one Ocean Drake, so it's not like Ocean Soul is healing them all up, and they continue to just pressure like this.
Baron is done right now with the minions crashing in the top wave. Normally you'd want to rotate there, but Dragon's up in 24 seconds, and Sparta Prime shouldn't want to risk losing a soul. They've already lost themselves soul point. If LBK Lemons get that, they could actually have a comeback on their hands.
Potentially. Oh, they found Charlie, and this is a good way to start it.
Yeah, Charlie is going to go down. He's being focused right now by everyone. Ultimate isn't, however, available for the boss. So Charlie is actually going to be able to get out at the end of all that. Boost to success, almost finds a kill. Gets hit by the Chains of Corruption, but ends up flashing away anyway. And Fate Sealed finds 2 in response. Kadu is trying to put out the damage from the side, but he's lethality. Varus, he doesn't have the consistency here. And the boss has to flash away. Gets parlayed to the face. Well, speedrun Charlie, he doesn't even need to be on the dragon. He's in your base.
I'm still in shock here from the fact that Josh Wally went down as incidental damage. The Fate Seal didn't even hit Josh Wally. That was just Fate Sealed in, and the first Q just happened to hit him. That's brutal. Kadu, you're not safe, buddy. TPs are coming in.
Should be able to keep this inhibitor for a little while, but it's not going to be enough as everybody else shows up. Sparta Prime now in your base. LBK Lemons have, I think, 3 to 9 seconds on their key respawns, and it doesn't seem like it's coming fast enough. That turret goes down really fast. Adila tries to make the magic happen, but Wu Yun is too far ahead to be chunked down by a Volibear. Joss has shown up and could try and burn through people, but he's being focused by boosted success. Nobody can get to the Nexus in time, and Sparta Prime are going to take us up 2-0.
I think, Dia, at this point, it's safe to say Sparta Prime is mechanically better in their lanes. Like, they won all their lanes here. Yes, boosted success was down CS, but when you look at the way they were rotating out, we were giving high praise to Enos in game 1 for the rotations on the Thresh. Game 2, Boost's rotations were just way better than Kadu. Kadu, 8 KP. Boost, 19 KP. Really no comparison.
Yeah, I struggle for any comparison in that game. They looked incredibly dominant here, did Sparta Prime, and it was off basically the same game plan as they had last game, but with a little bit more late game scaling insurance. And I think the analysts said it best: if they can win with this composition, what can't they win with? Who can beat them? Right now, Sparta Prime looked pretty unchallenged here, and LBK Lemons, they survived for longer, but it's not going to cut it.
And, DJ said on Analyst Desk too about wanting a better jungle clear champion rather than the Volibear. I didn't mind the Volibear when I saw the draft, but Sparta Prime's changed my mind right now. Getting Flamed Horizon, that's not okay. And they did have a lane to play through. They had the bot lane. They did try and play through it. But if you're falling that far behind on the top side of the map, then what are you going to do? How do you leverage that bot lane strength? Your jungler can't rotate there. Your mid lane is struggling to shore up your top side. Lemons, I think they're blue side next game, or I think they have, I'm not sure if they have a choice, but, I need to see something better. Leave another OP clear jungle up. Need be play the Udyr yourself.
Yeah, it's a tough answer here. We'll see how LBK Lemons choose to adapt. Maybe our analyst desk has some advice for them, because going into game 3, they're certainly going to need it. I'm going to toss this one to Necrox and DJ to solve the problem that I don't think I can, and that LBK Lemons clearly have not yet, to see if they've got any helpful advice.
Well, Dia, we have a long list of advice. DJ's got his chest pumped. He knows he's feeling good about his prediction coming into it. You still need LBK Lemons to lose, though. Need I remind you? And that looks like a foregone conclusion. Sparta Prime are just kicking butt tonight and taking everyone's names out of the notepad. You need to die. You need to die. You need to die. We need to get Baron. We need to get everything, and they're taking it all.
Yes, Necrox, and I do need LBK to get to win this last game to be 100% right, but I already know 3 other casters who are very, very wrong about the way that tonight's series was going to go, and Sparta Prime really just giving us everything we could have possibly asked for. They talked about it. They talked it up that they had the mechanical skill, that they were handpicked to be contenders, and contenders they are here, Heavy League. I do not think like LBK Lemons is not a bad team. We already know this. They beat YO Boomers in a 2-1 in week 1. They're an organized team. You can see their drafts have organization as well. They are a good team, and they are just getting absolutely blown out of every single lane. I mean, this draft, like you can sort of see the ideas behind this draft, but at the end of the day, RMC's right. Like they're just winning lanes. They're winning lanes that they shouldn't win. They're winning lanes that they should win. And they're winning matchups that they should win harder than they should win them. Yep. Your Flame Horizon as a jungler, like that's insane. That just never happens. Like that can happen in some lanes, but that doesn't happen in jungle. And you've just got Speedrun Chally split pushing at the end of the game in the enemy base while his team fights off a Soul Drake. Like they're just they're kind of memeing. They're kind of just like having fun here because they know they're just slamming them.
And to put it in perspective, everyone had YO Boomers ranked 5 coming into this week. Middle of the pack, solid team, really waiting to see where they go. LBK Lemons take wins against a middle of the pack team. Sparta Prime, meanwhile, is making LBK Lemons look like fodder on the Rift tonight. It is so impressive to watch this team go to work and get it done against LBK Lemons. And going into game 3, I know we had a laundry list of things we needed to see changed. Adila just still on the volley bear. Just not really doing much, still getting out-tempoed, still getting out-paced. Kadu out of position a few times. I had high hopes seeing what happened in week 1. Kadu just really getting in good work. But after that, it's, getting caught out near Baron, then dying solo in top lane. Not game-losing catches, if I will, because the game was never theirs to win, but things that snowball this lead completely out of control that you need to fix up if you want to take at least one win tonight.
Yeah, definitely need to fix it up, and we are going to need to see some more draft adaptations. Again, I thought there was some adaptation, right? We liked the fact that there was a lane to play around. You had that bottom lane pressure, which you certainly did. There was a 30 CS lead at one point available for Kadu. They did try to play around that lane. But Adila, even more so than in game 1, just kind of sacked the farm really to try to play around the lane. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for me, first things first, I would ban the Udyr away, regardless of what side you're on. Just make Speedrun Chally play something else, right? Like, yeah. I'm sure he has something else in his locker, of course, but just make him play something else, anything else. He is just smurfed on you twice in these 2 games, just running around, doing whatever he wants, taking all of your camps, and eventually just literally, running away from 4 of your members laughing. Like I can practically, like I was telling Necrox on the analyst test, I can practically see the smile on this guy's face as he's running away from 4 members in bear stance. I can just like see him smiling, laughing into his microphone to his teammates. He's like, they can't kill me. They can't kill me. I'm away. So just take that one away, get Adila, maybe some sort of positive matchup and really try to go at Speedy Run Challenge here, I think, as a starter. And then outside of that, a little bit of comfort, at least one winning lane, I think needs to happen here from LBK. But we are just about to get ready for draft. We'll see what they do have up their sleeve, because it does need to change if I want my prediction to come true. And it does need to change if they want to feel anything good about tonight, if they want to take any positives out of tonight. Because honestly, like, you're going to look back at these VODs and there's nothing to take away from these VODs. There's barely anything, maybe a little bit of early game number 1 on some rotations, but otherwise you're just getting dominated on an individual level, and that needs to change.
And I think the biggest thing to take away for Sparta Prime, and for those maybe watching tonight hoping to find how to beat Sparta Prime, we were talking about it as we were watching the game. Sparta Prime takes risks. They are a team that will fight you in between your bot turrets at 17 minutes, getting any fight that they can. They're willing to just take you at every turn and just push every advantage. That can be punished. If you play it well, if you have good rotations, if you assemble the global tools to then respond to these plays, they can be outplayed. They are not this armored up gladiator machine that they were making them out to be. There are definitely things and dents in the armor that LBK Lemons are knocking on the door at. It's just, for now, that wall stands strong, and there just doesn't seem to be a way in for LBK Lemons, though in game 3, they're certainly going to need to find some sort of penetration, or Sparta Prime are going way up, dare I say, to the moon in the power rankings after week 2, because they are blowing everyone's socks off tonight.
Yeah, I think they certainly will. And, again, we didn't have a lot to go off of, considering they FF'd for an 0-3 in week number 1. So starting kind of at the bottom of the table, Fair. But they're quickly making it up here tonight, already with 2 on the table, looking for the 3rd and the clean sweep, as we are still kind of waiting around. A little bit of an issue with the first